Welcome back, YouTube. Today we're going to go through a very popular question when it comes to training, and that is whether or not you should be doing cardio before or after your weight training. A lot of people will be doing multiple training methods, and that might include weight training and doing something like cardio or aerobic training at the same time. And therefore, some people do get concerned as to whether or not they should be doing cardio before or after the weight training. And if you're looking for the best possible results and the best outcome of certain sessions, then determining which comes first and which comes after can actually make a difference. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the few things you need to consider, ask yourself, to then determine whether or not cardio should be coming before or after something like weight training. So once you've watched this video, you'll be able to go away and you'll be able to be confident in knowing where you're going to place cardio in relation to weight training. If you do find this video helpful, please do drop a like. If you have any questions throughout, throw them down below so I can get back to you. And if you haven't already, please do go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up to date with the rest of these videos. Okay, so when it comes to the questions and the things we need to ask ourselves and determine whether or not cardio should be coming before or after our sessions, the first one is, what is the purpose of our cardio? Now, the reason why this is a question we need to ask ourselves is because the reason for you including cardio could be numerous, okay? Could be a number of reasons. It could be you are doing it as a warm-up. It could be you are doing it because you're trying to just increase expenditure, let's say for fat loss. It could be that you're doing it because you're wanting to improve your overall cardiovascular, aerobic, fitness and health. And the reason as to why you're doing it will then determine how much of a priority it is within your training or within sessions. So, as an example, if you're doing it as a warm-up, I'd say stop. If you're doing cardio as a warm-up for weight training, I'd say stop doing cardio as a warm-up. Instead, do something that is more specific to the training at hand. So do weight training like movements with lower weight and build that weight up. Okay, that's how I would warm up for something like weight training. On the other hand, if you're doing something like cardio for increased expenditure, okay, or if you're doing cardio for aerobic fitness, general health and fitness, then we have to move on to the next question to determine whether we place it before or after any other training methods. And that next question is then the purpose of the session. So in that session, what are we trying to achieve? What is the priority of that session? So we have cardio, aerobic training, and we have our weight training. What are you trying to get out the most from that session? And this is going to be the biggest determining factor of whether you're going to do your cardio or aerobic training before or after your weight training. Because simply put, you're going to want to put whatever you prioritize first, as you're going to be the freshest, the least fatigued, you're going to have more energy, you're essentially going to be able to perform better with whatever you put first. So whatever you prioritize in that session should come first. So let's say the priority of your session is to retain muscle mass during a fat loss phase. What is going to help you retain muscle mass the most? Weight training. So weight training would come first. Especially if we then go back to the question number one, what is the purpose of your cardio? And the purpose of your cardio in this example is just to increase expenditure. If it is just to increase expenditure, how much effort and how much of a, let's say, performance worry do we really have to be concerned about? Probably not a lot. So it's not an issue if we do it afterwards when we're a little bit more fatigued. If your priority is building muscle mass, then again, weight training is likely the priority there and therefore should come first. However, if our priority is general health, increase in aerobic fitness, endurance, and that is the reason as to why we're also including cardio and aerobic within our training as a whole, then in that instance, prioritizing cardio and aerobic training at the beginning would potentially be the best move, because again, we're freshest, we've got the most energy, therefore performance of that training method is going to be strongest. So the main question and thing you need to identify is what is the priority in that session, and whatever the priority is should come first. And then the final question we have is, or thing we need to consider, is interference. So what I mean by that is, if you are going to do the same thing, if you are going to do different training methods on the same day, consider whether or not they are going to interfere with each other. So let's say you want to do, or are considering doing, aerobic training alongside weight training, and then the weight training session, it is going to be majority lower body training. You have to decide whether the aerobic training is then going to interfere with the weight training, considering they're both lower body. Potentially that's going to be too taxing for your lower body, and therefore the performance of either or both of those training methods on that day might be hindered. If you are worried or concerned that there is going to be some interference between the two, then the question isn't, do I do aerobic training cardio before or after? The question is then, how do I separate the two and do them on separate days? Which brings me to my last point. Depending on the time you have available, the ideal scenario is probably always separating different training methods to different days or different times within the same day. So for example, on a Monday, you're doing a weight training session, which is majority lower body. You potentially wait until a Wednesday where you're recovered until you do an aerobic session that is obviously going to be majority lower body. Or if you were going to do them on the same day, you would maybe do an AM weight training session and then a PM, so you've had time to eat, recover a little bit, PM aerobic or cardio training session. That way you're essentially just trying to make sure the performance in each of those training sessions is as good as it can be. Because the last thing we want to do is be doing training just for the sake of doing something and the performance of that not being very good. We want to make sure the quality of our training is as high as it can be. And to do that, we need to prioritize recovery and be smart about how we program and plan our training. So hopefully this video helped in deciding whether or not you should be doing your cardio before or after your weight training or other training methods. And hopefully it gave you other potential strategies that you could use rather than maybe doing them back to back. If you did find this video helpful, please do drop a like. If you have any questions, throw them down below and I can get back to you. And if you haven't subscribed, please do go ahead and do so. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.